My name is Elyse Sosin. I'm a nutritionist and I'm 56 years of age.
Elyse, you've been doing this for a long time, no?
Long time, over 30 years.
Okay, let's talk today. I want to really address weight, diet, and what happens to people between 50 and really the rest of their lives. What are the biggest pitfalls you see? What are the problems? What are some solutions? And what's going on out there?
I think by the time people turn 50 or in their 50s, they spent a lot of years eating a certain way, their activity is a certain way, and now they either have the benefits or the repercussions of all those years. And so when I see people come in, most of the people want to lose weight. Probably about 65% of the United States is either overweight or obese, and New York is not an exception, but we have probably a little bit thinner people in New York City because we walk, and maybe economically they're at a higher level so that they can afford to buy different foods and different products than other people. But I would say probably at least 50% of the people I see come in for weight reduction. And men and women come in. Some of the biggest issues are cholesterol, blood pressure, pre-diabetes and diabetes, problems with knees and hips, osteoarthritis has started, and the extra weight is just making it a little bit worse for them.
So the weight that you carried, let's say, at 30 or 40, when you hit 50 or 60, that weight does something different to your body than it was doing before?
Well, I don't know if it does something different, but I think the wear and tear on a 50-year-old body, in addition to the extra weight, is going to make it more difficult. For women that are going through menopause, most women complain about the distribution, whether the weight is the same or higher. The distribution and the look is very different, and usually there's more fat in the middle rather than the hips and thighs that it used to be. The men complain about it as being in the middle also, their stomachs, their chest, they usually have thin arms and thin legs, and they don't like their look.
So what do you do? What can someone do when they hit 50, they've been carrying around this extra weight? A lot of people I talk to go, I don't know, they seem to always say I'm going to lose it in a week, a month, a year, after the bar mitzvah, after the wedding, after the, whatever. When is tomorrow?
Tomorrow is right now. Tomorrow is immediate because there's no good time. The best time is to start when you think that you have the motivation to do it and you're willing to put a little bit of time into it. And I tell people, anything that was worthwhile that you ever did in life, you spent some time doing. And usually you did it well. The weight loss is no different. You spent years and years overeating or gaining weight, and now you have to spend some time losing it and learning how to eat properly, which is difficult. It's not about starving, not about binging. It's very much in the middle. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people want the hype. They want the 20 pounds off in a month. Or there's a diet that's for 3 days and they want that off. That's temporary. That will not stay. And for me to tell them, well, you know what, if you do, my most successful people are a pound a week, and they look at me cross-eyed and they go, right, so after a year I'll have 50 pounds off one whole year. I said, but it took you 20 years to put it on. There are also those people that just have 10 or 15 pounds, and I have a lot of people that come in and they're very scared that they won't be able to lose it. They feel like it's an impossible feat, but that's not true. They just have to change something. Whether it's the food that they're eating, the portion sizes are a big issue, and they have to change or do some exercise. Some people do exercise, but they've been doing the same thing for the last 30 years. They have to change something so that everything else changes as well.
So for people out there who don't have the benefit or don't have the access to a high-end New York nutritionist, which you are, if let's say I just came to you and said, okay, Elyse, I want to lose 20 pounds, this is a freebie for you guys out there, so listen, you're getting one of the top nutritionists in New York. What would you do? Give me the program you'd put me on. Because you did it with Glenn. You got 15 pounds off Glenn, which I didn't think anybody could ever do, and he barely changed his routine at all.
Highly motivated guy. I mean, he was on.
He did. He's like really hot now. He lost all that. So what do you do? What is the Elyse plan? What is the Elyse?
What I first do is I take an inventory of what people really eat. And people can do that themselves. Get a sheet of paper, put down the time, the food and approximately the amount that they eat. Be very honest. No one else has to look at it but you. And see what the patterns are. Do you have 8 hours in between of not eating and then you're ravenous where everything starts looking pretty good, including the next person's meal? That's a big problem. You shouldn't be having huge amounts of gaps in your eating. Or are you eating every 5 minutes because you're bored or because you're watching TV or because you're anxious about something? So that the food log will show you as well. And then where is the food coming from? Is it all fried food? Is it all higher calorie food? Are you eating, I call it the witching hour between 9 and 12 o'clock at night. What are you doing then? I had one woman who told me, and she was very angry, I don't eat at night. She wound up eating 6 times at night. She had no idea. She had no idea. So the food record is great. The other thing is try to exercise. It'll make you feel better. It'll be better for your body, and you'll have some calorie deficit. Don't pick something you hate. I hate biking, stationary biking. I'm not doing it. It makes me sad. I want to do something that makes me happy. And if you could start off at 15 minutes and then increase it a minute a week, pretty soon you'll be up there. And if you do have access to a gym, I make the commitment every time I go that I'm doing 15 minutes and getting out of there, and it usually turns into 45 or 60. Once I'm there, I'm fine. But however you get there, you have to also make a chart of when you're going to go to the gym. Don't leave it open-ended. You'll never get there. You may have to commit to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and at 8 a.m. But make a plan and pretty much stick to it. And if you can't stick to it, modify it. Also, don't look at 100%. I hate 100%. 90 is still an A-. And if you could do 90% of things that you want to do to feel better, feel healthier, you're going to get there.
What about now, one week they say you got to eat a lot of kale. The next week they say you got to eat blueberries. Then they say, pineapple now it's high in sugar, but it's really good for your joints. What are there magic foods? Are there superfoods? Are there 10 foods that everybody should really make sure they're consuming, at least if not every day, every other day?
What you have to consider is your own medical history. Pineapple is great, but if you're diabetic or if you have a condition that you have high triglycerides, you shouldn't be drinking juice. But for everybody else, it might be perfectly fine. Things like oatmeal have soluble fiber. That would be great for people to eat. Strawberries are a low-calorie fruit, have a good amount of vitamins and nutrients and are terrific. Blueberries have a lot of phytochemicals in it. These are all good. And actually, you can't find a bad fruit or vegetable. There's a redeeming quality about everything. A lot of people like ice cream. They like frozen yogurt. Nothing wrong with it. It depends how much you have and how often. And if you could fit that into your food plan, you're going to be a happy person, just like some people put dark chocolate into their food plan. They like it, they want it, makes them happy, and everything else is fine.
How about the big 18-ounce porterhouse steak that you just... that's like the big male thing, right?
Yeah, most men like big pieces of meat or chicken. Women, more carbs for whatever reason. If you're going to do that, you can't do that a lot. And if you have high cholesterol or if you have a weight issue, 16 ounces, it's a pound of meat. So there are petite filet mignon. It's 8 ounces, or you could split the 16 ounce. You also don't have to have cream spinach. They do have sauteed spinach. And you have to pick your fights. If you're dying to have a roll, have it. If you're dying to have a glass of wine, have it. But you cannot have everything. So,
can you have a glass of wine every day?
Most people, there are some medical conditions that you can, but for most people it's okay. And you have to be careful with alcohol because it could set you up to be willing to eat more than you need to and drink more than you need to.
So 3 quick tips. The 3 things you just have to do.
Okay. The three things that you should be doing as you age are look at your own medical history and try to adapt your food accordingly. Try to pick an exercise piece that you could do on an ongoing basis and try to make it fun. And also do something for your own self-esteem where you could feel good about your exercise and perhaps even be competitive if that's what you want. And the other thing is, don't eat food you hate. There's so many foods out there that are good, great foods, and you just have to do a little bit of experimenting. Portion size is a big issue.
Cut it in half, whatever you're eating?
Cut it in half, but also have reality. Look at the amounts that you're eating, look at the quality of what you're eating, and know what you're eating. Once you have the information, it's half the battle.
So that's part of the writing it down every day?
Absolutely.
Well, I've seen your work, you're amazing, and thank you for talking to 50 to 50 today. And everyone out there, listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.